Welcome to the Driver's Line. I'm Greg.
And I'm Jordan.
And today we've got a conversation for you.
And our conversation circulates around the fine people in Coventry, England.
Yes, we are talking about Jaguar.
And what is going on with Jaguar recently. So as we can see in our sales numbers, Jaguar has taken quite the fall in recent years, right? Pretty miserable, dismal sales.
Dismal and miserable sales, I would say.
Yeah. So we just want to spend some time today kind of delving into what we see going on in Jaguar and maybe what's coming out in the future. And hopefully things turn around for them.
Yeah, they've got a plan. We don't necessarily think it's a great plan, but they have a plan. What's actually kind of interesting is if you go to Jaguar's website, the first thing you see is it says a new era.
Very nice.
What is that new era? So Jaguar by 2025 is planning on becoming purely EV. And so this is the brand of the thunderous supercharged V8s. Literally just called out in the naughty and nice list for the nice
raucous exhaust
on the SVR F-Pace.
Yeah.
And now they're going to go silent.
Yeah, it's a weird direction, but it's one that everyone's going to apparently. So who knows? This is what their fourth rebranding, I guess, in the last few decades here.
It's kind of hard to keep track.
It is.
I mean, they're going to do what they can. They're going to come out with all these EVs, and they've got a plan, right? Yeah. So their plan is going to start with a GT, and there's going to be a four-door GT, purely electric. Because, they really have invested a lot in their four-door cars. Jordan's laughing because he knows.
I'm trying to give a straight face here,
but beautiful sedan.
Yeah.
They've literally just left it on the shelf.
Yeah.
They've removed the good engines out of it, and now you can only get it with a four-cylinder. You can only find it now in P250 and P300 trims.
That is bonkers. And I remember when the XE came out, that was going to be like their saving grace, and like right towards heart of the 3 Series territory, and that has died.
It's dead. It's gone.
It's gone. Yeah. So how do we go from? It's just bonkers to me that they are deciding, you know what? An electric sedan is going to be the way to go for us.
100% the way to go. We're not going to make an SUV first. No. Because people hate buying SUVs.
Clearly. I mean, looking over at the other side of their business there, I mean, they got Land Rover and Range Rover, but those target a very different demographic.
Even within their own brand, they've got the F-Pace, the E-Pace, and their current EV, the I-Pace, which I would classify as an SUV.
Yeah, it's kind of like a weird hatchback SUV thing.
Yeah, well, I guess maybe their poor experiences with the I-Pace is the reason why they're choosing not to jump in the SUV foray to start with.
Yeah, I mean it was one of the first ones really in that genre, but they've just again let it just rot out there and no updates really to it. And although I applaud them for going in a different direction with that design, because there's definitely some standout features on that still not many people really focus on, like that very cool hood scoop that's in the front, the channel aerodynamics, which some other brands are looking at implementing. Yeah. But the rest of it is just ancient technology now.
Ancient, yeah. It's just so old. And what is the range? I think it's about 200 miles.
Right, yeah.
I mean, that's just not going to get it done with today's consumer.
No. So I just think that maybe an updated version of that I-Pace could be a good start. Probably change the name of it. I imagine something like that's coming, but
it is.
Starting with a four-door GT is just an odd choice.
Odd choice, yeah. So, I mean, Jaguar, I think that's their bread and butter because, looking back in their history, they've the XJ, XF, and, these have been their, like, quintessential Jaguar cars.
Exactly.
Maybe that's what they think is going to be their quintessential EV.
Yeah, I mean, I harken back even way back to when they kind of made Jaguar its own brand, and they had that Mark 7, like super nice sedan. Their designs were timeless, and they shared a commonality between them. Although the E-Type definitely broke out of that mold, right? But that is, a legendary styling direction. When you look at their lineup now, like I do understand you want to break away from the retro styling that was kind of like the thing, right? In the early noughts when Ford was in control. We tried to go in a fresh direction, but I think they went so far in that fresh direction that they kind of alienated what really makes Jaguar, right? So, those sumptuous, curvaceous lines that are timeless have gone away, and instead we got just slab-sided boringness, basically.
What are you talking about?
I mean, that's kind of how I feel, honestly. Like, I think
I've not heard of a car called the F-Type.
Fair enough.
Sumptuous curves.
F-Type is the standout there.
Beautiful.
Yes.
And then they ruined it too.
And then they ruined that face.
Yes. Oh.
That poor face.
They tried to make it look like all their other offerings.
Yeah.
When it was perfect as a standalone. It's your Halo car.
It's true.
For Jaguar. And they're like, oh, we gotta give it the corporate face. No, you didn't. You did not. You did not need to ruin that Jaguar.
No, and it's amazing what a couple of pair of different headlights does, because the profile of that car also was, I think, completely ruined to me, because you cannot see anything from the side anymore about what details are coming at you in the front, and it's a shame, because I think that car really had great opportunity to change the direction for Jaguar.
It did, and the thing that just is so disappointing is that in a vacuum, the new one doesn't look bad. No. Like, I mean, you see it driving down the road, you didn't think it was a Jaguar. You're like, oh, that's a cool new car.
Yeah.
But when you come from what the original F-Type was, it's just such a step down.
For sure. Yeah, it's a massive step down. And just for something that's not really necessary. Like, I don't see the point in changing that design direction at all. I mean, the rest of that car is phenomenal.
Yes. Beautiful. Even in 2024, you can still get it with the supercharged V8.
Mm-hmm. Unlike some of its other contemporaries. But I'm concerned about where this is headed, because in our opinion, I think the F-Type is the best Jaguar.
Oh, absolutely.
Without a doubt. Other than, of course, the F-Pace SVR that was featured previously. But I mean, those two models share something in common, right? They are over the top when it comes to engineering, but they are designed well, but not in a boring direction. So like, they're tame, but tame in a like stylish way.
Absolutely. And I mean, the F-Pace you might think is getting a little long in the tooth. Yeah. But Jaguar just recently redid all the interior. Yeah. And so I mean, that's just gives it a lot more longevity. But they've taken the teeth out of the cat in the XF. Oh.
Well done.
Spayed it or neutered it.
Jeez. Bob Barker looking at you.
Bob Barker.
Oh, rest in peace.
Well, maybe.
Much like Jaguar suit, I think.
Maybe the chief of Jag is like, oh, Bob Barker, I love that guy. I'm going to spay and neuter all my Jaguars too.
Oh, man. Oh. Yeah, but I do hope that they wake up and hopefully launch at least an SUV with it. Because as you can, I mean, SUVs are not going anywhere. And I mean, rapidly becoming the dominant force, right, in sales, not just in North America. I mean, we're even in Europe, right? The land of the wagon. SUVs are becoming the de facto choice for families. So I just still does not make sense to me, other than the fact that maybe they're looking at Tesla in the United States, like, hey, they came out with that Model S first. They made an impact. Maybe that's the way to go. Porsche has a Taycan. Maybe that's what we should do.
Right.
But
they want to jump into that major competitive set that's declining.
Yeah. I mean, that was a decade ago when Tesla came out with that Model S. Times are changing.
Yes. Like, it really begs the question, like, if you asked, I mean, I'd hate to ask Elon Musk because he's crazy, but if you were to ask Elon Musk, would he do Model S again first?
Right. That's true. Yeah,
just not thinking about the Roadster, but for their first mainstream vehicle, would they do the Model S again?
Or would it be the Cybertruck?
If it was a Cybertruck, it'd still not be on sale. They'd be out of business, so there's that.
That's true. That's so true. Although I can't see a Jaguar Cybertruck. That would be odd. But they don't. But I mean, how cool would an electric F-Pace be? I think that would. I think that would do well.
Yeah. It's perfect. It's the size of SUV that the population wants, the consumer's going to want. Yeah. It's the perfect vehicle for them to choose to go forward with. And, the beauty of EVs, right, is they're typically like a skateboard platform, right? You can add motors front, rear, side to side if you need to. But your battery pack is going to kind of be a major component of the floor. So this is something they could largely make modular and probably put a beautiful SUV body on after they've done their four-door GT. Right.
And I mean, I know that we kind of crap on EVs here and there for performance reasons. And just like, the audible sense of I'm driving something that is fun. But I mean, it does kind of play off their old tagline, right? Grace, space, and pace. I mean, it does all those things for you potentially. And I think that also like works really well for what would in the past have been Jaguar competitors like Rolls-Royce, right? Who's killing it with their electric Spectre. widely renowned for its performance, but also it ties into that factor that, hey, electric cars can be luxurious and quiet and provide performance too. So, like, I'm not necessarily saying that Jaguar needs to stay away from EVs, but I think that an SUV would be the wiser choice, stepping out of, what is currently a pretty dead lineup, to be honest with you, especially when sales are involved. So,
but, what is more trustworthy than a British electrical system?
Fair point. It's fair point. Widely renowned for being reliable.
Lucas is coming back, and they're going to do all of Jaguar's electric cars. They're not.
Who are they? Yeah, I mean, that's true. But I would think that eventually with their corporate overlords there at Tata Motors, we'd probably get some type of enhancements in terms of electric capability over the few years that they've owned them. You would think, right?
Maybe. Maybe.
But who knows what's in the future for them?
Yeah.
I mean, they've been running with that I-Pace for a while now. So we'll see. We'll see what's coming for Jaguar. I do wish them well, because it'll be a sad day when Jaguar is no longer available. I think
it's a storied brand, and we don't want to see anything bad happen to it. We know they can do fun things with electric cars, and so we're definitely rooting for them, but we're concerned.
Yeah, when Cadillac is outselling you on a global scale,
like what, 5-1?
Yeah, exactly. We got to really start looking. I mean, I never thought Jaguar would be a niche player like it is nowadays. You know, but especially with the lineup that they rolled out a few years ago. But we'll see. We'll see what happens.
All right. Well, thank you guys very much for viewing. That was our chat about Jaguar.
Jag.
Who
knows? You might see more of Jag coming up in the future.
You may. So you have to tune in, see what we're coming with next week.
Yeah.
And as always, like and subscribe.
We'll see you next time.